Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Jax Tutor, ACT and ACT practice with the Jax Tutor. This is Ramel, your host. Let's solve this right here. Let me show you what they ask us to solve. Alright, so we can see it here. They give us I squared is equal to -1. 1 over 1 plus I times 1 minus I divided by 1 minus I. So here, 1 over 1 plus I multiplied by 1 minus I times 1 minus I. Let's see. The way we're going to think about this problem is it's not necessarily, okay, this part is gone, we're left with this. But what they want us to do is just multiply by the conjugate of the denominator, the complex conjugate of the denominator, so we can have a number in the denominator. So usually when you have complex numbers, they want to have a number in the denominator. The way you accomplish that is sometimes is multiply by the conjugate of the denominator, and you'll end up with a number. So that's what we're going to do here. So 1 plus I times 1 is 1. 1 times 1 minus I is 1 times 1 minus I. And then we have 1 plus I times 1 minus I. So 1 times 1 minus I is 1 minus I. Now the denominator is 1 plus I times 1 minus I. If you remember that formula, a squared minus b squared is equal to a plus b times a minus b. So now you have a plus b. Let's call one, if we call this one a, if we call this one b, that's exactly what we have here, a plus b, a minus b. So that would be the first one squared minus the second one squared. So it's 1 squared minus, that's part of the formula, the second one, which is negative I squared. So what do we have? 1 minus I divided by 1 squared is 1 minus negative I squared, which is what? Negative 1 squared times I squared. Negative 1 squared is 1. So 1 minus I divided by 1 minus negative 1 squared is 1 times I squared as -1. Now, I don't want you to be confused on this. So here we had a negative I. So whenever you have two elements, whenever you have two numbers or two variables inside of parentheses, and then you have the to this power, you can take the first one to the power. So I take the -1, which is in front of the I take it to the second power, and then I take the I to the second power. I squared, as they give us in the problem, is -1, and we already know that. So 1 minus I times 1 minus -1. So 1 times -1 is -1. So what do we end up with? We end up with 1 minus I divided by 1 plus 1. Minus 1. And then minus 1 is plus 1. So 1 minus I divided by 2. And then this is what they want us to solve. And the answer choice on here, it looks like it's J. Let me show you. Looks like the answer choice is 1 minus I divided by 2, you can see is J. Yeah. If you enjoyed this video, please share it on your page. You'll help a lot of kids taking the ACT and the SAT and any other standardized test. Thank you very much. Bye.